What's up, sports fans, and welcome back to another episode of STV Sports. I'm Max, and today I'm actually flying solo, and I'm going to be bringing you guys our first ever college football YouTube video. So today we're going to be going over our STB Sports college football playoff rundown. Of course, the 1, 2, 3, and 4th best teams in the country have been decided and are going to be facing off for the national championship. So let's get into the rundown for some of these games. So the first matchup, of course, is going to be the number 1 team in the country, Alabama, and the number 4 team in the country, Notre Dame. The opening line on this game is actually going to be Alabama minus 17.5 points. So definitely a heavy favorite in this one as they are the number 1 team in the country. So for Alabama, their offense is all about Mac Jones, Najee Harris, the running back, and of course, Devontae Smith, the leading receiver in college football. Smith has 1,500 receiving yards already this year. Alabama, of course, also has an excellent rush defense and a lot more college football playoff experience than the number 4 team in FBS, Notre Dame. So for Notre Dame, Ian Book, the quarterback, he's going to have a monster game in this one. He is the second best quarterback in FBS on the basis of winning percentage, behind only Trevor Lawrence, the projected number 1 pick in the NFL draft this year. And he's, like I said, going to have to play very well for Notre Dame to have a chance. His, of course, teammate Kyron Williams, the running back, he's also been very good this year. He's had 6 100-yard games already, and he's going to need another in this one against that stellar Alabama defense for Notre Dame as the 4 seed to have any chance in this one. So overall in this game, we see Alabama rolling. Too much experience in the college football playoff for them will keep Notre Dame from getting anywhere near the win here. I think Bama and Notre Dame both have a very similar style of play, but Alabama is just much more experienced. They're more talented at every position group, basically, and they've just become better at the style of play that both of these teams like to do. Notre Dame, I think, could keep it close for a lot of the first half, possibly the first quarter or two, but Bama is going to cruise to the finals in the second half. It's just going to be dominated by Najee Harris and Mac Jones, of course, but 2 centerpieces of that Alabama offense. So that's where we see this first game of the college football playoff going for the Rose Bowl. So the second game of the college football playoff will, of course, be the number 2 Clemson Tigers versus the number 3 Ohio State Buckeyes. This will be in the All-State Sugar Bowl, which is going to be taking place in New Orleans in the Superdome this year. So the opening line for this game was the Clemson Tigers minus 6.5. And I think we really have to start with the Tigers here. Trevor Lawrence, the quarterback, has only lost 1 game ever while playing under center for the Clemson Tigers, and the team is clearly completely different when he's on the field. Of course, they did lose to Notre Dame once this year already, but that is purely because Trevor Lawrence was not playing. When he was playing, Clemson absolutely dominated Notre Dame and won that game, I believe, 34-10. So when Clemson has Trevor Lawrence, it's a totally different team and is absolutely a powerhouse between Trevor Lawrence, a strong defense, a young defensive line, and of course, Etienne at running back. So for the Ohio State Buckeyes, they have another star quarterback in Justin Fields. He's likely going to be the number 2 pick in the NFL draft this coming season. The offense, of course, was a little bit unhealthy in their last game against Northwestern, but hopefully that won't be a problem for the Buckeyes, and they'll get Chris Olave back as one of their number 1 receivers. And of course, they'll have their linebackers back as well. So hopefully that team will be a lot healthier when this college football playoff semifinal rolls around. The big question for the Buckeyes, though, is going to be their pass defense. So their pass defense is actually the last in the Big Ten, which is saying something considering that the Ohio State Buckeyes were one of the only really strong key teams coming out of the Big Ten this college football season. So that's definitely something to watch, especially as they are facing off against one of the best college quarterbacks ever in Trevor Lawrence, who of course only has 1 loss, as I mentioned. So of course the Buckeyes are probably going to go pass heavy with Justin Fields under center and Trey Sermon, who just came off a monstrous game. I think he had almost 300 yards rushing against Northwestern. He's going to look to balance out the attack a little bit on the ground for the Buckeyes. They also have one of the best offensive lines in football, so that'll definitely be a major factor. So overall, this game is going to be an absolute thriller. That's what I think, at least. It's going to be a rematch of the intense game that we saw a year ago. Both of these quarterbacks are, of course, excellent. I think Trevor Lawrence is significantly better. Justin Fields does throw some picks every once in a while. But if Ohio State is healthy and has all their players, it could be a very, very close game. I think Clemson is the better team this year and has had a lot more experience this season because the Buckeyes campaign was, of course, quite shortened by COVID. And especially if the Buckeyes defense struggles at all containing Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne, Clemson is probably going to take this game by a decent margin. I don't expect a blowout. This could be a very close game, but we are going to take the Clemson Tigers to beat the Ohio State Buckeyes in the All-State Sugar Bowl this year. So, of course, that sets up a matchup for the STB Sports College Football Playoff Final. The national championship game would be the number 1 Alabama Crimson Tide against the number 2 Clemson Tigers. So we're going to go ahead and give you guys a pretty short rundown of how we think this game would end up going. So for Alabama, they just have a ton of experience here. They've been here before. Nick Saban is, of course, an excellent coach. And on both sides of the ball, this football team is absolutely dominant still. For Clemson, they do have actually quite an inexperienced defensive line. It's very young. I think they have 2 freshman starters, but it's still quite good. That could be a matchup to watch if these teams do end up facing off in the final. Both these teams have solid QBs. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence is a bit better. And they, of course, also have very, very good head coaches. Dabo Swinney for the Clemson Tigers and Nick Saban for the Crimson Tide are both excellent coaches and possibly all-time greats in college football history. So personally, in this one, I'm actually going to go ahead and take the Clemson Tigers to win. I think it'll be a close game, but they're going to pull this out against the more experienced Crimson Tide, mainly because of the play of star quarterback Trevor Lawrence. He's just an amazing player, likely a generational quarterback talent, and he's only lost 1 game ever to perhaps the biggest juggernaut in college football history in last year's Louisiana State Tigers, led by Joe Burrow. So I do not see Trevor Lawrence losing another game, though Alabama definitely has a chance, as they are, of course, very experienced, well coached, and of course the best team in the country right now, as they have not lost. So right now we see a close game in the final with the Clemson Tigers from the number 2 seed coming out on top. All right, so that is the end of our next college football rundown for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video a ton. I enjoyed making it. I hope you enjoyed me going solo for once. So please, guys, do not forget to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, comment on whether you like our predictions, don't like our predictions, or if you have any video ideas for us. And of course, have a great day, guys. Peace.